submit an ACCS certificate and determination. So the first thing we need to do is find the child that we want to submit a certificate for. We're going to check that he has the appropriate documents to apply. He will need a state and territory notice and also some other supporting evidence. I can see nothing's been uploaded here yet. I'm just going to add, there we'll go. State territory notice, and we'll put in the date. We'll say that we received this notice on July 4th, 2022, and that'll just make it a lot easier for you to find in the future. When you're ready to submit your next one, you'll be able to see more easily that this is an old one. Okay, so I'm going to choose a file. I've just got some mock documents here. So I'm going to say that's that one. And you might find that the document that you have fulfills the needs for a supporting evidence as well. So you can actually upload 2 copies because you will need to submit 2 documents to apply for ACCS. And we'll say supporting evidence. Let's see. Yeah, 003. July 2022. Okay. So now that we've got both those documents, we can go to the enrollment. And in a CCS service, you would have an ACCS tab. However, this is just a test service, so we don't have that available. So I'm going to have to switch into a CCS service for the remainder of this video. And I will just be blanking out the information for privacy reasons. Okay. So this is what your screen will look like when you're ready to submit your ACCS. So first you'll go to the child's enrollment and then click on the ACCS tab. You'll always start with a certificate. A certificate runs for 6 weeks, and that is basically just to give you the time that you need to collect other supporting documents so you can submit a determination, which is the longer ACCS coverage, usually 13 weeks, but you can request up to 52 weeks if you have evidence that the child is on a long-term order, such as you might receive a letter saying that the child's in care until they reach 18 years. In that circumstance, you can apply for 52 weeks. So we always start with a certificate, and you will need a certificate every 12 months. So you only need to do this once every 12 months. Some things to remember is that the start date always needs to be on a Monday. So we can see most recent Monday was the 4th of July. So we'll go with that. July. Certificate weeks at risk is 6. We're going to say that we can confirm that we have evidence to support the certificate. This box here is only if you are late to submitting the certificate. So you can backdate up to 28 days. If you're trying to submit a certificate for longer than 28 days ago, that's when you put a reason in here. If you're not late to submit, don't put anything in here because it will come back with an error. So we're on time. This was only for this week. So we're going to leave this blank. Okay, and then we're going to leave this one blank as well because it's relating to the previous one. It's important to remember that you, as a service, will only be submitting ACCS forms for children that are at risk. So if the parents come to you and ask you to submit ACCS because of financial difficulty, that's when the parent needs to be the one to submit to ACCS, not you. You'll only submit for a child at risk. Grandparents' care is another ACCS reason, but it's the grandparent that will need to submit that, not you. So you will look at your document and you will see which one of these reasons applies to the child. Most often, it's because the child's in child protection. Here's one that a lot of people seem to trip up on. You have these two questions here. And one says, was the provider notified of the risk by an appropriate state or territory body? And the second one is, has a notice to an appropriate state and territory body been made? Only one of these can be yes. The other one's going to have to be a no. You would determine this by if the agency let you know. So if you have received a letter from an outside source to say that the child is at risk, then that's when we know it was the provider that was notified by an appropriate state territory body. So we'd say yes for this. And if we're saying yes to this, then this one's no. Because if someone has told you that the child's at risk, you're not going to go back and tell them because they already know, and vice versa. So if you were the one to let an outside source know about the child being at risk, then this one would be yes, and this one would be no. Date notice given. So that's the date that you either received the letter or you sent the letter. This one needs to be less than 6 weeks old from the time that you're trying to claim the certificate for. So we're trying to claim for this week. So it needs to be less than 6 weeks from this week. The latest date on the notice can be up to 6 weeks ago. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it's any earlier than the 30th of June, then you'll get an error. It won't let you submit. It needs to be recent. So we'll say that we received the letter on the 1st of July. Okay, and that will be acceptable. This information you'll find on the letter. So whoever the person was that sent you the letter should have their details, and you're just going to copy from that. It's type body class, usually child protection. We'll just say child protection. This will all be on your letter too. These next few questions are optional, so you don't have to pop anything in there. And here we come to the document section. So these are pulled from the child's profile document section that we looked at earlier. As you can see, the JPEG that I was saying wouldn't work has come up with an error here, or if it's an unrecognized file format, it just won't show at all. So if you have documents loaded into the child's profile document section and you can't see them here, check that you've used the right document type. PDF, again, always works. We love PDFs. Always works. We love PDFs. The way that you attach your documents to the application is just by putting a label in the document type. So state territory notice, ACC 003. This is the one that we want. You can also attach more child wellbeing evidence. You don't need to, but you will when it comes to the determination. Read this, check your declaration and your understanding, and tick that box there, and then submit. I'm not actually going to submit because this is a real child's enrollment, and a certificate will, in most cases, be approved immediately. The only times it won't be is if there is an error. If you can't figure out what that error is, please feel free to contact us at support and we'll have a look for you. The other time where it might take longer for a certificate to go through is if you are trying to backdate it more than the 28 days. CCS might want to review that manually, and that might take some time. Once you've finished your certificate, you've submitted it, it's come back approved, you can go on to do a determination.